Ghana loses close to $2 billion annually through illicit financial flows. And in international news, U.S. Centers for Disease Control researcher says tests are underway to determine genetic sequence of Ebola virus behind an outbreak in Central Africa. These and more, including sports and entertainment. Stay with us. To our very first story now, and residents of Somanya in the Ilokrobo district of the Eastern region on Friday demonstrated against the Electricity Company of Ghana over what they describe as escalating bills. The spontaneous reaction of the residents was triggered by ECG's attempt to disconnect power supply to defaulting customers. The irate residents chased out ECG officials and subsequently besieged the ECG office violently. They held staff of ECG hostage and held stones against their office, resulting in damages. It took the intervention of the police personnel deployed by the Somanya District Police Command to put the situation under control. Residents expressed anger that local businesses are folding up due to the high bills they are unable to pay, hence disconnection by ECG. They have threatened not to pay the bills until the ECG resolves the matter. Well, so we have AJ Labi, and he is the Deputy Public Relations Officer of the ECG. Hello, good afternoon, sir, and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Well, so can we get an understanding of the way why the huge bills in that area?
Good afternoon to my listeners. The dispute on bills is a common phenomenon in our operational system, and whenever a customer believes that his or her bill is not normal, they have every right to complain. And I wouldn't say that it's common that the bills are huge in the area. I want to look at it from a point of view that they have issues with the bills and it was being looked at. It's not like 12 years has been paid via computer.
Well, Mr. Labi, the question is, why the huge bills? Because the people, the residents there have complained severally, as you know, some of them are even on screen now saying, but we can't hear them now.
Okay. From the explanation given us from the district, you know, last year we changed from one billing system to the other, that's from the CDIS to the CMS.
Okay.
And it's changing. We had issues with the change over. And we didn't rest. We went to the community to explain to them. So we've engaged them severally, as they also complained that the bills, they complained severally. So it's not like every month we give them huge bills.
Well, but I want to find out if action has been taken, because looking at what happened yesterday, could that have been prevented?
I'm happy you are bringing what happened yesterday. What happened yesterday was an issue of somebody who didn't want to pay his bill. And let me also add that the people are fond of reconnecting their service when they are disconnected. You know, one of the tools that we have get our bills paid is through disconnection. We are not happy that we disconnect people, but when we disconnect, it helps us also to manage the debt that customers are accruing, and it helps the customer also not continue consuming and burdening him or herself with bills.
Well, so
if you want me to go into what happened yesterday. There was this gentleman, an assembly member called Odamti, who went round over the month telling people not to pay their bill.
Mr. Labi, sorry to cut you here. The story or the reason why the people, demonstrated yesterday is already out there. So I want to find out what the ECG plans doing next.
What is the reason why they demonstrated? If you want me to know, then we can continue.
No, I am saying that, the story yesterday, the story came out yesterday. So we want to know.
I need to know the story that came up there, because I don't want a situation where we'll be talking with you taking a position. That is not it. We are explaining because we need to resolve the
For want of time, if you would be brief about it.
That there was a complaint. And I don't want the situation also to let it seem like somebody has taken a position.
Well, for want of time, if you would be brief about it.
Okay. So this gentleman went around telling people not to pay their bill. He was disconnected and he reconnected himself. The people went there, our people went there to disconnect again, and he called their people to surround them. So they ran away, leaving their vehicle, the operational vehicle there, and he gathered them and they marched to the district office and they vandalized the place. That was what happened. So for me, it is not like the bills that they claim is huge. It was somebody who is a leader in the community, who has influence over the people, and then use that to settle his cause with the company.
All right, thanks so much. I have been speaking with Mr. J. Labi, and he is the Deputy Public Relations Officer of ECG. This is still Midday Live. Let's move on to other stories. And Deputy Director of Institute of Industrial Research, Dr. Francis Boateng says the transformational impact of the Ghana Power Compact would help stabilize the country's electricity supply situation, despite concerns that the government is being pressured to complete the ECG concession agreement. He says the expected $500 million investment in ECG would help create jobs and reduce poverty.
6 companies have been shortlisted in the bid to take over the management of the Electricity Company of Ghana. They are BXC Company Limited and CH Group with EDF and Viola as partners. The others are Tata Power Company Limited from India, Manila Electric Company from Philippines, Enel SPA from Italy, and Engel Services SA from France.
I think it's gone far. I'm happy with some aspect of it, especially bringing in the idea of 51% of the concession that should be owned by Ghanaians, rather than having 100% foreign ownership.
The Ghana Power Compact is expected to reach financial close in September next year, after it came into force in September 2016. Workers of ECG are worried government is being pressured to meet the deadline, but Dr. Boateng says Ghana has a lot to gain from the compact.
If you look at the situation, let's look at it as whether it is right or wrong, rather than thinking about the timing. In whatever case, whatever the case is, if it is delayed, if it is right, it will be done. So why the fear here?
The Power Compact will provide close to $500 million grant to fix Ghana's deteriorating electricity sector, while the new concessionaire is also required to invest an additional $500 million to upgrade assets of the electricity company.
Now to Galamsey Menace, and Galamsey activities have halted in Bonsan, a farming community in the Sefi Juaboso district of the Western region, following government's directive to stop the practice. The community is one of the hardest hit by the Galamsey Menace in the country.
Bonsai lies within the tropical rainforest belt. The area is endowed with a lot of natural resources, including timber, cocoa, and mineral deposits such as gold and diamond. But galamsey activities has destroyed large hectares of farmlands. Bulldozers and other equipment have been abandoned.
The community is full of mosquitoes now. Our water is polluted. Wild pits have also been abandoned. We fear for the lives of our children.
Adam Sagogo, who claimed to be a security man at the site, explained what he has been tasked to do by one of the galamsey operators.
I have been tasked to look after the abandoned equipment.
River Bia and River Bonsai, which flow from Ghana into La Côte d'Ivoire, takes its sources from Kokrosu Hills in the Bonsai area. Polluted water from the two rivers recently sparked a diplomatic row between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire. Chinese nationals who were engaged in the galamsey business in the town had reportedly left.
In a related development, President Akufo-Addo has encouraged the Ghana Armed Forces to be at the forefront in the fight against illegal mining. The president was speaking after presenting colors to the Armored Reconnaissance Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces.
As government intensifies its efforts to curb the illegal mining phenomenon, otherwise referred to as galamsey, that is polluting our waters, destroying our farmlands and forests, and threatening the very survival of this country, Ghanaians would continue to rely on the services of our security services, with the armed forces in the forefront, to help deal with the problem. I'm confident that, as always, the armed forces will rise to the occasion.
But during the week, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Mewu, chided the military and other security agencies for providing cover for illegal mining operators in the country. He has thus called for a probe into the act, particularly some 15 military men who are guarding GPS, a foreign mining firm he visited during his tour in the Ashanti region. Let's listen to him.
Recently is that the emergence of military trying to protect an illegality. And you are a typical example. You say your name of your commander. Can you mention it again? Lieutenant Kenahi instructed you to come and man this. Yeah. Well, of course, so maybe we'll get to site and see if there's any contract between your outfit and then this mining company. A site that has been declared, as an illegal, without license, provisions, have been manned by strong military personnel, calls for questioning. We want to use this opportunity to call on the military hierarchy to come and establish and tell all Ghanaians why this time still they are protecting an illegality. And for me, so long as the military will continue to do this, then the fight against an illegality is going to be very difficult for us.
The issue about galamsey has taken a national twist. So the president talks about it. We have chiefs all getting involved. We have the media. And so it is very important we stay a little while longer on this particular issue. And I have Edward Kwesi Ekwakwa, and he is the Director of Policy Research, Artisanal and Small-Scale Mining Africa Network in the studio to talk more about happenings in the galamsey subsector, right? Yeah. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, my dear, and how are you?
I'm great. So, first of all, let's look at what your organization make of the fight against galamsey so far.
Well, thank you very much. I think that so far, so very good. Personally, I have my commendations for the minister, okay. Because initially we were a bit upbeat because we felt the approach of the MPP administration was going to be like the previous administration, where they were going to start with the military, where we feared there were going to be brutalities. Okay. But I think that so far, very good. At least we've seen some calmness on our soils. And we've also seen, you know, some calmness on our water bodies as well. The water bodies are beginning to clean up naturally. In fact, if you travel across the country, you're beginning to see that the water is beginning to recede. It's beginning to clean up. Now, the other thing is that,
which areas have you visited?
Yeah, personally,
so far
I was in the Western region just last week. And if you look at the river Ankobra, which was very, very brownish in color, it's beginning to recede. Naturally, because there isn't so much disturbances like it used to be. Again, you are beginning to see very few foreign nationals, you know, within the Galamsey enclaves. I mean, if you travel around, you begin to see that excavators are still moving around, you know, to safety because they are obeying the ministerial directive. And I think that for me, that is commendable. At least that is one thing that this government has done differently as far as the fight of illegal mining is concerned. But then our concerns now are that these successes are coming with certain effects, you know, which government needs to deal with. One of them is that whether we like it or not, there is an issue of livelihood and job losses.
The government has set up a committee to look into that.
Exactly. So we will call on the committee to work as expeditious as possible, because when somebody is hungry, he cannot wait for a long time. Otherwise, the person will begin to find something to do, which might not inure to the benefit of the state. And that is our concern. Number two is that local economies have been destroyed. A lot of people were trading, you know, around this sector of illegal mining, and they were doing businesses. Now they've also lost their businesses. Now the other thing is that you have a lot of abandoned sites. These sites have been left unreclaimed.
Exactly.
You have, you know, a lot of pits that are collecting water. People are saying, you know, it's giving them mosquito infestations and all that. So government needs to deal with these problems. However, there are also issues of potential stealing and robbery, which can also come as a result of this fight, because most of these young guys are very active guys who were in Galamsey, and now that the job is no more, the potential or the propensity is there for them to find something to do. You know, so we want government to look at these things. But I believe that going forward, government needs to tighten the regulations. So by way of regulations, government needs to put in place very effective regulations. And I think the minister has hinted that, or the president himself has hinted that they are sending a bill to parliament to make sure that they will tighten the noose around the fight on this. And then also, what is important is constant monitoring, because as human as we are, human beings will always want to find ways around, you know, anything they are doing. So we need to have a very resourced minerals commission or regulatory bodies that will constantly be able to move across the country to make sure that people are not doing or perpetuating these illegalities.
Mr. Kwako, I would like you to hold on a bit, because we have Emmanuel Yoenchi Entry, and he is the Director of Operations, Ghana National Association of Small Scale Miners. Good afternoon, Mr. Yoenchi. Thanks for your time.
Good afternoon.
Well, so we've been talking over the last 3 weeks or so. So far, you have heard from Mr. Kwako. I would also like to find out your assessment of the fight against Galamsey so far.
Oh, well, so far so good, except that there is something wrong, that there is something that's happening that we feel we want to clarify. So far, so good, except that the fact that the licensed small-scale miners have been boxed together under the guise of our methodology is not correct. This thing ought to be clarified, and members of the association are very aggrieved, because most of them are doing very responsible small-scale mining. And we want Ghanaians to know that we are integral part in this fight against Galamsey. As a matter of fact, we started our fight about 6 years ago. And we have track record where most of the media covered some of our operations several years ago. So how is it that licensed legitimate small-scale miners have been boxed with illegal operators? At this point, when we need them to work to sponsor the operations that we are doing, why is the government targeting us unfairly? What is happening?
Well, okay, so I think we're having some challenges with the line. It's very difficult hearing him. I have been speaking with Emmanuel Yurinchi Entry, and he is the Director of Operations, Ghana National Association of Small Scale Miners. Let's come back into the studio and still look at this issue. So government has placed a 6 months moratorium on small legal small scale miners. That's we heard from Emmanuel. The minister, the miners are definitely not happy. Is this the right way or the right approach to take by government? You know, they are legal miners.
Yes, personally, I think that we could have also done better in that regard, because I personally do not believe that by merely, instituting a moratorium will actually sanitize the industry. My understanding of the moratorium was that government is rather not approving new licenses, but I did not understand it to mean that government wanted even those who have legally acquired their licenses and are in operation to stop. Because I know a lot of small-scale men who are still operating.
Yes, the thing is that those in operation are also to stop.
Well, that I think we could have done something better, because I believe that if the person has legally acquired his license and his modus operandi does not in any way, conflict with established rules, then I don't see why the person must be stopped. In any case, I believe that, for me, I believe that those who have been affected in that regard should seek legal redress. They also have a right. They can go to court and challenge the status quo. Because if I was one, I'll test the law.
Well, earlier they wanted to demonstrate and then they called it off. They have given government until 7th of June after calling off that planned demonstration. Do you think they should understand government's, the plans that government has, in ensuring that they deal with the Galamsey menace?
Well, I think their plan is commendable. For me, I think they're only trying to be diplomatic, which I think is good. Because so far, the government and the minister, for that matter, has been very diplomatic in the fight. There hasn't been any force, the use of force anywhere, giving orders, and people are obeying. For me, I think that's commendable. If that approach will work, which I believe it may, they should pursue it, because I know the Honorable Minister, Mr. Ameu, is a very diplomatic person. He himself has been an activist in the civil society sector for a long time, so he understands some of these things. I believe that they should pursue it. But like I was saying, I believe that going forward, we need to also get our judiciary, who are the implementers of the various laws, to also be very punitive a bit, in order to serve as a deterrent. I'll give you a typical example. Just last week, there was an issue of a Galamsey case that went to one of our courts. I'm not too sure of the court. But an officer at the Minerals Commission was telling me that, look, how do we succeed in the fight if a Galamseya is fined 240 Ghana cedis and allowed to go? You understand? So I think that perhaps it may not be the fault of the judiciary, because they are also implementing what exists. So what it means is that we need an overhaul of the legal regime so that we will be able to make things, But I think that government also needs to deal with all the people who are aiding and abetting with these Galamseyers, the military, officials of the regulatory agencies, being the Mineral Commission, EPA, whatever, the politicians themselves.
How best can government do that? You have the military, the minister himself said that one of the sites that he went to, he saw military people, guarding the place.
Yes, by openly dealing with these people and making them public. For example, if these military men who were found to be illegally guarding such an illegal site are actually found to be culpable, in my opinion, they should be sacked. After sacking them, they should be sent to the law courts and prosecuted. And this should be done very open for all Ghanaians to see. This will be very scary enough. For example, if, let's say, a politician is found to have aided and abetted, that politician should be prosecuted openly. If a Minerals Commission staff is said to be, they should be fired. Once you do these things openly, everybody is there. All Ghanaians are there to see these things. And this will be punitive enough and scary enough for anybody. If you want to secure a job, you wouldn't do that.
That is so, rightly so. So, Edward Kwesi Ekwako, thanks for coming to the studio. He is the Director of Policy and Research at Artisanal and Small Scale Mining Africa Network. Thanks for joining us. We're grateful to you. This is still Midday Live. Let's move on. And conservative estimates that Africa loses as much as $50 billion each year through money that is illegally earned, transferred or used. The Global Finance Integrity, GFI, reveals that misinvoicing accounted for 68.8% of all illicit outflows from sub-Saharan Africa between 2003 and 2012. Ghana loses close to $2 billion annually through illicit financial flows.
Corruption, money laundering, tax evasion and avoidance are some of the avenues used for illicit financial flows. At the launch of a campaign against illicit financial flows christened Stop the Bleeding by ISODEC, an economic specialist with the UNDP, Kojo Sedega, suggested institutions should not be blamed anytime something goes wrong.
The institutions are run by people, and if people sit and watch and things pass by, it is their mistake, it is their fault. So we need to be holding people accountable than blaming it on the institution, and because the institution is just there as a structure and infrastructure, and we cannot necessarily say, okay, let's hold the institution responsible. But there are leaders of those institutions that must be held accountable.
A joint report by African Development Bank and Global Finance Integrity revealed Africa lost as much as $1.4 trillion in illicit financial outflows from 1980 to 2009. Ghana loses close to $2 billion each year through illicit financial outflows. A tax expert, Abdallah Ali Nachia, is of the view that by blocking the loopholes in the tax administration alone, Ghana may not need foreign assistance.
My concern has always been when I came across the report published by ASEP that indicated that report was in February 2015, that Ghana lost 14.39 billion between 2002 and 2011 from the natural resource sector only. That's a 10-year period. It means on average we're losing $1.4 billion. Then I come to think of it. We went to IMF for $938 million over 3 years.
He indicated the need to go beyond naming and retrieval.
I keep saying, Ghana, we have the best laws you can find anywhere. Our problem is implementation. Name, recover, and punish. If you name the person, you recover and punish him, it's shameful.
Chairman of Tax Justice Coalition, Vitus Azim, stated illicit financial outflows undermine domestic resource mobilization.
Illicit outflows create dependence on outside resources. We are always dependent on loans. Now we are even on commercial loans, thereby undermining national sovereignty and created vulnerability to unfair conditionalities tied to development assistance, foreign loans, and aid.
He recommended the need for a revamp of the customs database to enable meaningful usage by a wide range of users and researchers, as well as governments in the various sub-regions strengthening their tax authorities.
To the health sector now, and the Society of Family Physicians Ghana has expressed worry over patients' lack of detailed medical records of themselves, saying it affects quality healthcare delivery. Chairman of the Accra Local Organizing Committee of the Society, Dr. Ayongo Annan, said the introduction of family physicians will solve that problem and help improve the health status of patients.
Family physicians are specialist doctors who provide personal, comprehensive and continuing care for individuals in the context of the family and the community. They are trained in all areas of medicine with special training in preventive medicine. The benefits of family physicians include the personalized service and the presence of detailed medical records on their patients, and in most cases, the medical records of the family. This provides the doctor with adequate information into the health conditions faced by a patient, and it is especially beneficial in cases where the conditions are hereditary. Chairman of the Accra Local Organizing Committee of the Society of Family Physicians Ghana, Dr. Ayongo Annan, says the absence of adequate medical records of patients is a drawback on Ghana's healthcare system. She encourages patients to identify family doctors to attend to their varied healthcare needs.
The idea is you have one doctor who sees the whole family and sees you. So you offer continuous care, get to know the family, the diseases and illnesses that will run through the family, screening programs that you can run for the family. It's not at any extra cost to you, the individual. We get paid our salaries. We don't collect anything extra for being family physicians. We just take care of you as we are trained to do.
Treasurer of the Society of Family Physicians Ghana, Dr. George Nketia, noted a family physician is equipped to handle varied medical conditions including depression, and suicidal-related cases, hence the need for an open relationship between the patient and the family doctor.
When it comes to depression and suicide, we are very important because you'll be comfortable to talk to somebody that you know, somebody who was taking care of you for a long time. You'll be comfortable to share certain things that you might not be able to share with other people.
The concept of family doctors is widely known in the United States and the United Kingdom, but is yet to be greatly explored in Africa.
Stay with us, we have more news coming up after this.
Go on HD combo decoder from StarTimes.
Cool! StarTimes HD combo decoder.
A free decoder promo from StarTimes. Simply pay 120 Ghana cedis for a 2-month super bouquet and get an HD combo decoder for free. Don't be left out. Get yours now and enjoy the best entertainment from over 100 international and local channels. A free decoders from StarTimes. StarTimes, change your view.
My name is Kate Papafio, the CEO of Railway Cables. To be an entrepreneur, to be an industrialist is an honor. We all need to start from somewhere. Join me on time with the captains on 29th on TV3 at 6 p.m.
TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
Everything you need to know. Captivating. Reliable. Credible and breaking news. All at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Being on top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips.
Thanks for staying with us. An insurance practitioner, Edgar Redu, has challenged the decision of the National Insurance Commission to revoke the license of any insurance company which fails to meet the new capital requirement. Insurance companies in the country have up till the end of June to meet the new capital requirement to escape possible revocation of the license.
Following Ghana's entry into the League of Oil-Producing Countries, regulators in the financial sector have compelled industry players to increase their capital base to conform to the country's desired status as the financial hub of the sub-region. Under the recapitalization, direct insurance companies are expected to increase their capital to 15 million cedis, whilst reinsurance companies are to recapitalize to 40 million cedis. The desire by insurance companies to fulfill this requirement has led to the country recording its first merger of local insurance companies. Regency Alliance Insurance and Name Insurance Ghana Limited pooled resources together in a bid to meet the new capital requirements for insurance companies. So far, 50 companies have met the requirements, leaving only one. The regulator has subsequently given the company up to the end of June this year to recapitalize or have their license revoked, but insurance practitioner Edgar Redu has challenged that decision.
So far as the minimum requirement is there and you have not been able to up it, does not mean that you have to be, delisted or your license must be revoked. What the industry needs to do, what the commission needs to do, is to ensure that they put a certain monitoring system in place to ensure you don't underwrite certain businesses that would create problem for you in the event of a claim, coming in.
Analysts had predicted an increase in mergers and acquisition following the new capital requirements, just like it happened in the case of Nigeria, but that was not to be. First Vice President of the Ghana Insurance Association, Edward Fokwoche, says insurance companies will now have the financial wherewithal to undertake big-ticket transactions.
Companies were given enough time
in terms of when this was going to take effect, either introducing some new shareholders or finding other means to meet the capital. It also means that we are now in a position to introduce efficiency to deliver efficiently.
And Principal Consultant of E-Crime Bureau, Albert Enchi-Boisiako, has underscored the need for the country's security agencies to be trained on cybercrime. He was speaking at a workshop on electronic crime for selected police personnel in Kumasi.
The workshop focused on mobile money fraud. Cases usually reported are phishing, advance fee scams, overcharging by merchants, identity and cash-out theft. Participants were drawn from the Regional Police Command. Principal Consultant of E-Crime Bureau, Albert Enchi-Boisiako, said it is expedient for the country's security agencies to be trained on cybercrime in order to tackle the growing menace.
The police will have to first of all understand how mobile money operates, because if you are investigating a case, you need to understand the environment first before you can identify your leads and do a good job.
Ashanti Regional Police Commander DCOP Ken Yeboah recalled how he was duped by some mobile money fraudsters.
I transferred money to somebody who actually needed money immediately, and in fact everything indicated that the money had been transferred to the person, and so I called the person to find out whether he's gotten the money, only to be told that yes, it has indicated on the phone, but he went to the place and they said the money has already been cashed.
Prosper Boni of the Anti-Money Laundering and Compliance at MTN revealed customers' incessant complaints of fraud.
Most of the frauds that are happening are socially engineered. For instance, somebody calls you and plays on your intelligence. That is how it happens. Now, the person runs you through a series of questions. Without you knowing, he's getting details which you're also exposing yourself. By the time you are done, he's been able to push you to send money on your own.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Midday Live here on TV3. My name is Anako Jafre with all the sports updates, and we begin with the Ghana Premier League, where the league resumes this weekend with exciting fixtures to kick off the second round after a short break. And here are the fixtures for you. In Accra, Hearts of Folk will be hoping to do a double, but Liberty Professionals Inter Allies will take on West Africa Football Academy league leaders far away at the Elwak Sports Stadium. Mediama will be up against Bolga All-Stars. Ebusua Dogs will take on Elmina Sharks in the Central Region Derby. There's Wa All-Stars taking on Ashanti Gold. Ashanti Gold won their last game of the first round before going for the break. Sika Akono will hope that momentum continues for her side. Idiana Stars will be up against Bechem United in the Bro and Hartford Derby. Great Olympics will hope that their revival continues when they take on Brekum Chelsea, and Tema Youth far away in Tema will take on Kumasi Asante Kotoko, who ended the first round of the Ghana Premier League without a win, but won in the MTN FA Cup. And their new man, Steve Pollack, will hope that that winning streak continues for his side. So talking about Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they have had a torturing end to the first round, going 8 matches without a win. With a new coach in charge, Kotoko will be hoping for a quick return to form when they travel to Tema as guest of Tema Youth. Steve Pollack believes there is a sense of freshness in camp which will show in the upcoming games for the Porcupine Warriors.
Kotoko is a big team, if not the biggest team in Ghana, if you look at the titles that they won. They've had a bit of a lapse in the last couple of years, and hopefully I can come and help them to get back up to where they was a few years back. So it's going to be difficult for this season because there's 11 points to the top, but you know, mathematically we're still in with a chance because there's 45 points to go. So we just go and play one game at a time and be positive and going into every game to try and win it. The players are buying into my principles and philosophy, but it's going to take time, but I don't have an honeymoon period. So I'm straight at work, straight in, and the last game we played, we won 1-0, we could have been a lot more, but attitude was good, and we're going to take that into the game on Sunday.
Child DJ Erica Tando, better known as DJ Switch, says she's optimistic for a good show on Saturday, that's today. The Wonder Kid, who is expected to give audience a time of their life at Ghana Meets Niger, says fans should expect nothing but fireworks.
DJ Switch has no intention of letting her fans down. The 9-year-old, whose fantastic display on the turntables saw her through 3 months of keen competition to the winner of Kit's reality show Talented Kit, is charged up for this year's Ghana Meets Niger performance. The concert, which has garnered Shatta Wale and Nigeria's Davido as headline acts, with support from others including Manifest, Fowls and Tiwa Savage, is expected to bring under one roof thousands of music enthusiasts for an entertaining night. DJ Switch says she's not tense but will rather leave a lasting impression.
I'm going to play the best of Nigeria Jollof and Ghana Jollof mix. I want the crowd to be excited to see me because Ghana have gotten the youngest female DJ.
Born Erica Tando, the youngest DJ in the country, says she is grateful for the opportunities coming her way.
I'm very excited to meet artists like this, and I'm very excited about the crowd, and I know I will perform well.
The 2017 edition of Ghana Meets Niger concert is scheduled for May 27 in Accra.
Shatta Wale's 2017 hit song Taking Over mocks one Sergeant Lee, who apparently is idling drinking tea but thought he was in a comfortable lead. Many have been wondering who Sergeant Lee is. Well, Owusu Warai has been looking for Sergeant Lee. I hope he finds it.
Hey, Sergeant Lee.
And so as it stands right now, Sergeant Lee is the most wanted person in Ghana. Everybody wants to know who Shatta Wale was talking about in that particular line, and we're also interested.
Yes, most Ghanaians are now jamming to Shatta Wale's 2017 banger, Taking Over. The song, delivered in Ga and Hausa, comes with several interesting lyrics. One particular line has, however, got tongues wagging.
Hey, Sergeant Lee, what's all you chatting?
Hey, Sergeant Lee.
Going by the lyrics, Sergeant Lee mistakenly thought he was the best in what he was doing, but to Shatta Wale, that was far from the case. Many have had the cause to believe that Shatta Wale was mocking his bitterest rival, Stonebwoy.
Stonebwoy. Sergeant Lee is Stonebwoy. We all know. I heard they were rating the dancehall king on Twitter. When they started, Stonebwoy was leading. So he was like, wow. He was tweeting, telling people, yeah, he's in a comfortable lead. Later on, when they finished everything, Shatta had taken over.
I just tweeted just once, and I took lead, you know.
Come to think of it, Stonebwoy was in Jamaica early this year.
Yeah.
Shatta, we were not talking to you.
Okay, cool.
Stone, is it Jamaica you went to?
Exactly.
Well, Stonebwoy did claim in Jamaica that he is the best dancehall star in Ghana.
So you're in the top tier?
Definitely, number one.
Number one, as it relates to dancehall?
Yes. Me run it still, you know.
And you run that?
Yeah.
All right.
Could the Sergeant Lee uncomfortable lead story have emanated from here?
I chanced up upon the Sergeant Lee thing twice. This is the third time I'm hearing it.
Stonebwoy has admitted he loves the song alright, but he definitely is not the Sergeant Lee Shatta Wale is talking about.
I don't know what they're talking about.
The BET recipient is himself eager to know who Sergeant Lee is.
For the Sergeant Lee word, like you say, I don't know.
Yeah, like
if it means something good, I take it sharp.
Hey, Sergeant Lee.
And now back to the big question, who is Sergeant Lee? Well, Shatawale mimicked Sergeant Lee in a recent performance. Here is a clue to who Sergeant Lee might be.
Shut down. Sergeant Lee, contract, shut down. Sergeant Lee, oh, that's your Dartey. No, if I can comfortably.
Your guess is as good as mine. So now, who is Sergeant Lee?
Sergeant Lee, oh, that's your Dartey. No, if I can comfortably.
Well, who is Sergeant Lee? I don't think we still know who Sergeant Lee is. Maybe Shatta should come out and tell us who really Sergeant Lee is. Well, I am Asiedu-Dartey. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a good afternoon.